All right, well, welcome back to Exhaust Sports Auto. My name is Kevin, and we are here to present to you the 2021 Kia Stinger GT. So who do we have to thank for this opportunity? It is none other than University Kia at Durham, North Carolina, and I will leave all of Z's information down in the description box below. So why are we here to check out this particular vehicle? Because, well, I used to own one of these things, and there's a lot of ladies in the Kia forums that are very upset with me for getting rid of the thing, and well, it's none of your business, honestly. So anyway, regardless of what those people have to think about me, I used to own this car, and you know, this was an extremely hyped up car. This is the fourth model year of this particular vehicle. It came out in 2018. In 2018, that's a model year I used to own, and well, at least whatever. But this particular model year, 2021, it's the latest and greatest, and they made some changes, not a whole lot, just some trim changes here and there, but I'll go through some of those things. But I just want to revisit this car. Most importantly, I just want to see how I'm going to feel about this car after owning several other cars, as well as driving several hundred other different types of cars since the ownership of that particular vehicle. So we're going to get this thing out on the road, and we're going to talk about it. But first, let's kind of address the looks of this car, I guess, and this is kind of where the trim levels come into play. So you have this new GT line. That's the base trim level. That's the four-cylinder. So basically, even the four-cylinder now looks like the V6 trim levels now. So that's a pretty nice touch for 2021. All these years, all these model years, they're all carryover model years, basically. And in 2020, they kind of switched over the badges. Basically, they got rid of the Kia badge in the back, and they put the Stinger badge back there now. So that's a nice touch. Everybody was kind of doing that anyway, so I'm very happy that they did that on, just from the factory. So that's great. I mean, this is a hot looking car, though. That's why I wanted to talk about it. I mean, especially in this red, this is an exotic looking car. When I used to own my Stinger, I used to get thumbs up all the time. My car was black, and it got so many heads turning. I mean, people were thumbing me up. It was great. You're not a douchebag if you drive this car. That's the most powerful thing about this. That's what that portrays to the rest of the world. I mean, people love you for owning this thing. You put one on your driveway, the neighbor's going to love you. It's great. So I love that there's zero douchebaggery with this car, and that's part of the reason why I chose to purchase one. But okay, you let me know in the comment section how you think about this car. Also, a lot of people, they think that this is a copy of other cars. This is a very unique looking car, especially from the front end. I really like it. Nothing else looks like this vehicle. It's just in the rear where they kind of copied the Maserati taillights and the Audi A7 kind of hatchback look. But other than that, it's a very unique looking car, and part of the reason why so many people love to look at it, especially normal people. But anyway, let's go ahead. Enough talking. Get this out on the road, because that's what this vehicle is supposed to deliver out on the road. Despite what I might think about this car, for this price point and for what this thing has to offer, I still respect it. Mainly because you can get this thing with all-wheel drive. Now, we'll never disregard a car that a normal human being can actually go out and purchase and use it year-round, and it's actually relatively quick for what it is. I mean, these are important things that most normal humans care about. Few specs, obviously, you know everything about this car. 3.3-liter V6 engine, of course, produces about 365 horsepower, 376 pounds-feet of torque. For a normal human to get that in a sedan nowadays, I mean, I really respect that. You know what I'm saying? Backed by one of the best warranties, a 10-year warranty. I mean, this is great stuff here. So something that they've done with the traction control of this car, they made it, really feel slippery. And obviously this is kind of a colder day, but even in the normal mode, even with the traction control on, they did something to it to make it feel, I don't know, very slippery, and that makes this car exciting and fun for a lot of people. But here's the thing, this thing is also fitted with the 8-speed automatic transmission. That thing shifts extremely well. We could change it around, put in the sport mode here if you want. There's also a custom mode here, so there's a few things that you can play with here. What was some of the reasons why I wasn't really super pleased with my car? I mean, it was kind of like a one-trick pony. It had explosive power. That was no doubt. It's almost like Tesla-like, if you will, but obviously this is better than a Tesla. I like this way more than a Tesla, so that's good. But it's just like, I don't know, like if you think like this is some amazing handling car, I mean, this is not on par with like a BMW, but this is still, it's decent for what it is. It's mostly a cruiser with a great motor behind it, basically. I mean, it's stupid how quick this car is. I mean, honestly, I think this is, because of the way the boost comes on in this car, I feel like this is actually quicker than my LC500 that I have now. And it's a natural feeling car. I'm glad that it's not something ridiculous like the BMWs where it has like this ridiculous overweighted steering. Everything about this feels natural, and most importantly, it comes with all-wheel drive. This particular one is the rear-wheel drive. For a normal person, this is one of the easiest way to get a car sideways, and you can bring it back very easily. That's what I was talking about with the traction control. Something about it, when you put it in the sport mode, it gets very slippery in the back, and but it's so easy to catch though. It's nothing to worry about. Some people found that there was a delay with the 8-speed transmission. There is slightly, but honestly, this is a fantastic 8-speed. I have no issues with Kia's 8-speed automatic transmission. I feel like they did a great job tuning that to feel normal, to feel responsive when you need it to, you know, like the paddles. They react pretty decently for what it is, but it will auto upshift, unfortunately, so there is that. The Stinger is best used here as a cruiser with an amazing engine that has effortless passing power. This thing is reasonably comfortable. A lot of people actually like complain about the comfort of this car. That was not an issue that I had with this particular vehicle. I always enjoy the comfort of these cars. That was not an issue. And this thing is still rocking the 19-inch wheels, but it has summer tires, Michelin Pilot Sport 4 tires. And here's the thing with those tires, it's a summer tire, yet it's not ridiculously loud even at speed. So that's good. This is actually surprisingly refined. And I do feel like this is actually a tad bit more refined than my Stinger back in 2018. You know, I think they made some subtle improvements. Like this particular one had double pane glass on. I don't remember if my car had double pane glass. There's something about this. They tuned it to be a little bit softer. I do like this Stinger a little bit more than my own personal car, but because I do feel like they made some legitimate changes both in the refinement, and I think it's slightly a little bit more comfortable. I don't really quite remember, but this is definitely far superior than a BMW in terms of comfort, that's for sure, but not superior in terms of handling capability. So that's the main thing you have to kind of realize with this thing. See, I'm about to chuck it into this little corner right here. A lot of body roll with this car still, but that's actually kind of what gives it like this explosive feel off the line, because the chassis isn't really that fantastic. So what you end up with is, you know, good turning circle. That's always great with these Kias. But another thing you have to keep in mind is, because this chassis isn't the absolute best, what you end up with is, you know, a lot of sensations with speed. See, look at that. It kind of gets sloppy right there. I like that. It's just an explosive feeling car. And that's the thing. If you've never owned a car that's even remotely fast, this is going to be one of the fastest cars that most people are going to get themselves into, basically. And with the rear-wheel drive, I think this can be exciting for most people. So yeah, thus far, I am actually enjoying my time with it, but keep in mind, I had mine for about 6 months, and like 3 months into it, I was kind of getting sick of it, honestly. I don't understand why, but it's just something I got sick of. And the BMW 440i, that was not a car I got sick of. I had that thing for like almost like a year, basically, and it was enjoyable at all times. But this car, it just kind of got old for me pretty quickly. And unfortunately, a few other people actually shared my exact same sentiment. You know, people in Australia, they were like, oh yeah, you know, I also got rid of my Stinger after 6 months, and I got like a VW RD on, and they were more happy with that. Another guy in the Reddit forums, you know, he got a Toyota Avalon, like a new one, and he enjoyed driving that more than the Kia Stinger, which was crazy for a lot of people to take in and understand. But I will say though, this 2021 does feel superior to the older model years. So Kia did do a pretty good job. You know, Kia never releases proper documentation of the exact changes that they make. They just say all their cars are amazing and they just leave it at that. But I wish I can get more access to information, because I do believe that this actually feels a lot more tighter, a lot better than my old Stinger. You know, at some legitimate speeds now, you know, this thing, it still feels stable. Like high-speed stability was always excellent with the Stinger. So the confidence you have in that regards is great. It's a pretty windy day. There's a slight buffeting effect, but it's actually not too ridiculous. I don't mind that at all. I do think this is overall quieter than my old 2018 Stinger. But anyway, you know, I was mentioning those tires back there. You know, I'm glad that it's relatively quiet for a summer tire, but I will say though, the fact that this car has these tires means that they're trying to overcompensate for the chassis, you know what I'm saying, because it's not like the best in terms of handling. They try to put these ridiculous, super sticky summer tires, and it worked. It does make the car feel a little bit more grippy, but that's one of the things. They do this with the Veloster as well as the G70, you know. They try to, you know, hide some of these things. The cars like the G80, that's their that's the honey, man. That's one of the best works out of Korea for sure. But this is good. The compromises that they make leads you with a vehicle that is super quick at a relatively good price, dude. This thing stickers for $41,000, but you can get this thing for $36,000, over $5,000 off the MSRP price. That is amazing. A lot of people say that this is like a $50,000 car. They're freaking stupid. I mean, just look at the trim levels. This is the cheapest way to get the V6, and that's the only way you should get this car. I mean, it's a compromised vehicle, but the engine is not a place where you should compromise. I do remember driving the 4-cylinder, and that was okay. It's adequate, but what makes this car fun is that twin-turbo V6. That's what makes this thing. Dude, you can be doing triple-digit speeds, not even know it, and you're just flying, man. This thing will absolutely annihilate 95% of cars at a street start. That's for damn sure. So if you want that, if you want to know that in the back of your mind you have one of the quickest freaking cars for the money, then absolutely, man, get it. Because something like a Dodge Charger with the V8 is more fun, but this is going to be slightly more economical, and also, well, not super economical. I mean, this thing still takes premium fuel. That's recommended. And also, if you pound on this thing the way I have, then the MPGs is not going to be that great. You're going to be looking at 15 MPG in the city. But anyway, this is more so of a refined experience. You know, the V6 is super smooth. It doesn't have like a ridiculous crackle pop effect from the exhaust or anything like that. So keep in mind, know what this car is. It just happens to have explosive power. It's a quiet, relatively quiet, kind of comfy, kind of cruiser car. If you treat it like that, I think you will be satisfied with it. But if you go into it thinking it's some like high performance, best handling car that you can possibly get for the money, then you would be mistaken, and you might come out of the experience kind of the same way that I felt when I initially owned it. If you want better handling, go with something like a BMW 440i Grand Coupe. That was a significantly better handling car than this. I find this car to be a little bit more comfortable, primarily because it's about 190 inches long. And this thing weighs about 3,800 pounds, which is actually not that bad. A lot of people complain about the weight of this car. The weight is not ridiculous with this car. It is about it's a little over 4,000 pounds if you get it with the all-wheel drive. But again, it's something to look into. You can make this into a more all-weather friendly vehicle. So something to keep in mind. But yeah, would I buy a Stinger again? Honestly, with all-wheel drive, knowing what I know now about cars and seemingly some of the changes that they made with this vehicle, if I got it either cheap enough to finance or the lease was stupid cheap on it, I wouldn't mind it. As a second car, like as a daily driver though, I mean, obviously I'm not going to get rid of the LC to get it back into this vehicle. You know, that's no way in hell. But as a daily driver to complement an LC, sure, that I can kind of see, because again, like I mentioned, there's a lot of mental things that I like with this car. The fact that it's a Kia, the fact that there's no douchebaggery associated with it, the fact that it looks very exotic, cool, and a lot of people give you thumbs up for this car. I mean, that, you know, it gives you pleasure to your subconscious, basically. It's crazy because I do genuinely think this is actually like faster than my LC, actually. So you also know that this is one of the quickest freaking cars. You 4.7 seconds to 60. I don't think that number does this car justice. I think it actually feels quicker than that. So there you go. If 0 to 60, if spec sheets, if stuff like that is what satisfies you, if that's what you look for in a car, this can bring you satisfaction. So know who you are, know what you want, and if you test drive it, you know, if you can do an extended test drive with it, that would be ideal. You know, take it over all the kind of bumpy roads in your area and like a lot of highway driving, you know, see if you truly do like it. Part of the reason why it doesn't handle that great is because the strut-based suspension up front and the multi-link in the rear. And the multi-link, that's great, but things like the G80, one of the reasons why it makes it feel so much more superior out on the road is the fact that I use a double wishbone suspension setup. So that's something to note about this car. Hopefully this review has helped you out. I mean, hopefully, you know, if you have any questions, please do leave it down in the comment section below. This is not a bad car. I never once said that this was a bad car. It's just like, know what you want in the car and understand what you're getting into. And if you understand that, this can be a great purchase for you, especially if you get it at the right price. Hell no, do not pay MSRP for this car. Definitely get this thing at a deep discount. Oh, funny enough, I know Doug DeMiro, you know, like everybody knows Doug, but you know, he bought a Stinger, and guess what? He totally sold it after 6 months too. Well, that's quite a coincidence, isn't it? But whatever though. If you're an owner, I mean, a lot of people still are an owner of this car that still watch me on this channel, so they seem to find great pleasure in this car. Hopefully they knew what they got into when they purchased this car, so maybe that's why they like it so much. So if that's you, continue to leave your comments down below. Share your thoughts about ownership, reliability, how you found this car to treat you as a driver, as a driver's car. Let me know how you still like it. So with all that established, let's get into the interior. I mean, again, this is the GT model, so this is the cheapest way to get a V6, so you're going to miss out some of the features, but overall, I still like this interior space. And another thing, I don't remember if this was the case with my 2018, but I feel like this center stack was completely piano black plastic. So I think they listened to us journalists, and they actually replaced the piano black with this metal finish. It's plastic, but whatever. It's like this metal finish. Love it, man. This is fantastic. This is the material that car manufacturers need to use. It doesn't have to be real aluminum. I'm just happy to see that it's not like that fingerprint magnet piano black plastic. They still use it in the edges here. That's fine. You can use a little bit of it, but this is brilliant. Love that. You got one touch up and down windows just for the front two windows here. And like I mentioned, it is double pane glass. So that's surprising to me. I don't quite recall if my 2018 was that, but anyway, the rear glass is not one touch up and down. You got some paddle shifters here. They work reasonably well. It's not the fastest shifting transmission in the world, but it gets the job done, and I appreciate it. I don't have any real complaints with it, so that's good. Automatic headlights, that's great to see. Flat bottom design steering wheel. I love this steering wheel, dude. It's a great, nice leather quality flat bottom. It's a great thing to hold on to. I appreciate that. This interior does feel extremely solid. Some people were reporting creaks and rattles as they put some miles on the car. It's to be expected. There's a lot more plastics being used with this interior. That's some of the ways that they kept the cost low with this vehicle. So it is what it is. When you buy a brand new, it's a pretty damn solid car. You even get heated seats with this GT model, but you don't get the ventilated cooled seats. You have to step up to the GT2, I believe. GT1 is the model to get, though, I will say, if you want some options, but I like this trim model because it's the most basic, it's the cheapest one. There's no sunroof, so it kind of helps with the rigidity of this chassis. This car kind of needs it. But if you want sunroof, Harman Kardon audio system, a few other things, then step up to the GT1. You get all the features that you need. It's about $5,000 more than a regular GT like this, so something to keep in mind. GT2 is, for the most part, unnecessary. You don't need that. You got physical buttons and controls for your HVAC, but you do have to look up at the screen for your temperature and your fan speed, so that kind of sucks. But anyway, you do get this little 7-inch screen. A lot of people seem to not like it, but I love it. It works. It's great. You get Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, all that stuff is standard. That stuff is standard on a Kia Rio. But anyway, I'm glad that they offer that here. So you do still get a screen of some sort, and the audio system is not complete trash. It's not like unbelievable with the Harman Kardon. It's noticeably better than this, but this still gets the job done. That's why I don't mind owning this GT model. If you want to get all-wheel drive, it's about $2,000 on top of the asking price of a rear-wheel drive counterpart. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So I would rather spec it out with all-wheel drive instead of going up to a GT1 trim and then enjoy this amazing V6 motor. So that's what I would personally do. I respect the design language that they incorporated here. That's great. It feels special. It feels unique. A lot of people, they say they copied Mercedes-Benz here, but honestly, I like it, dude. I like all this stuff. And the fact that you get heated seats in the front, that's great as well. I like the seating position of this car. That's great. You have a decent amount of storage space in this vehicle, both in the armrest as well as in the glove box. These seats have always been very comfortable. They seem to be very durable. I do like that as well. GT2 gets the real Nappa leather, but honestly, I prefer this. I feel like this is going to age better than the Nappa leather. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Again, no sunroof, but I like that. Rear seats, it's not a plethora of space, but obviously adults can fit back there. This car is overall 190 inches long. Being a longer wheelbase car, it kind of does help the ride quality of this vehicle, so that's good. But I could fit back there. Most importantly, though, here's another main reason to purchase this car, dude. That trunk space, okay? It is SUV levels of trunk space. This is like that one car, I get why so many people love it, and this is the main reason why I bought this car, because it's like that one car that kind of does everything. It's relatively sporty, it's got a really quick engine in it, but the storage space in the back, I put like a Home Depot, like extra large cardboard box back there, the whole thing, and it fit, it swallowed it up. There's so much, it can swallow up so many things, and I absolutely love that. You even get a spare tire in the back as well. Great stuff, man. And obviously you can fold down the rear seats, of course. So this is why, man, all-wheel drive, that hatchback space, stupid practical. It makes sense, man. That's what I'm saying. Get it. Understand what you're getting and appreciate what you're getting. That way you will be happy with it. And the fact that you get a stupid long warranty with it, it makes sense, dude. It's just, I've driven so many freaking cars that, you know, there are other cars that does a similar job, obviously, like the 440i. You can get that with all-wheel drive. It's also the same amount of space in the back as well. And it's slightly smaller than this car, but it's a better handling experience. So that's something I appreciated with the car. I mean, BMW, they know how to tune their suspension systems and all that stuff to make it feel superior out on the road. Kia's not quite there yet, but they have, obviously, they know what they're doing. You know, they built this to a price point, and I appreciate that. So more people can buy into this, and this is far more reliable and far less maintenance as well. And also, I forgot to mention the brakes. Brakes are amazing on this car. Brembo brakes, stops a car on a dime. That's not an issue. So, yeah, man, I feel like the pros outweigh the cons, and I think 2021 is a good model year to get. Somehow it's a little bit more refined, both in the comfort and in the NVH-wise. So, something to note, if you're an owner of this car, like a newer one, let me know. If you still have your older 2018, please also let me know. And yeah, continue to stay pissy with me. That's fine, but you got to give me credit. At least I kept it real with you. So leave your thoughts and your comments and your questions below. I'll leave University Kia's information in the description box if you're interested in purchasing this car. And with that, I'll see you at the next video. It'll be on the end screen here. Bye.